Hi, this is going to be a deeply personal video. I haven't prepared for too much. Let's see how it goes. Obviously, if you're not into that, why are you watching this? But if you are, hi, I'm going to tell you a thing that I got reminded of by Digimon. Let me show you a couple second long clip first. Listen. 'That's already it. I saw this in a Let's Play of a friend, and I saw this as a child, obviously. And this reminded me of why it's important for me to be recognized as a woman by basically anybody. And that made me like remember it because this is Digimon, right? There's these kids who get these Digivices, and then they have Digimon, and they get to be like awesome anime, getting into fights, going on adventures, having fun, and all this kinds of stuff, right? And this little girl is the little sister of the boy in this clip, and she didn't get to go on that adventure. She didn't get a Digimon or anything. And she just comes off as very like lonely and sad, and I could relate to this situation of, oh yeah, I know you all get to have fun, but I don't get to have fun. I guess that's just how life is. That's how I felt in my childhood. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm just noticing this frame. And this feeling of like, yeah, I don't get to have what I want while you all like get to have this thing that I want. Like some of those kids in that show don't even want a Digimon. They don't even want to be on this adventure, but they get to anyway, right? And then this little girl really wants to, but she doesn't get to. And that's how it feels to be trans as a child, where everybody that's not trans gets to have the gender that they have and be recognized as the gender that they have if they want to or not, right? But you don't. And you're sad about it, but you just don't get to. And there are a lot of people who mean really well, right? That might just want the best for you, but don't actually know what the best is for you. And it's incredibly hard growing up and even later in life to tell those people who actually do want the best for you, but just don't know that they don't know what that is, and they have like the wrong idea. It's really hard to tell them, no, I'm gonna do what I think I need to do, and like start this whole transition and such. You could make this an analogy. I've tried to think of comparable things, right? And I thought about I don't know what she's called in English from the top of my head. Aschenputtel in German. The Disney princess who has the glass slippers and stuff, and she becomes like a princess even though she's actually poor, right? And that's also a good analogy for being trans, where you grow up in poverty, you grow up in not like gender poverty. Basically, you don't have the gender that you want to have, and you don't get to have it. You can't have it. You're poor, you're not rich, you're not gonna have this, right? But you can dream of having this, and you can put in a lot of work and a lot of time, and with enough conviction, you can actually become gender rich. And imagine a person that grew up poor and is now, say, the queen, right? Imagine a person coming up to that queen and saying, "Ha, I know you, you were poor at one point," which is basically saying, somebody coming up to me and saying, "Ha, you used to be a man at one point." Saying that to a person that has already transitioned, saying that to a person that was poor and has become a queen now, is just pointless. That's like walking up to a person and saying, "You used to be a kid at one point. You're not a real grown-up." That's ridiculous. And I don't, like, I kind of do understand, but I don't think it's fair to treat transgender people like they're not actually the gender that they have transitioned to, while treating people that come from a poor background and are now rich not like, you're not actually a rich person, you're actually a poor person, even though you have a lot of money now, right? Like, that's kind of hypocritical, like, to treat the one person like this and the other like this, just because, like, I can never prove that I'm a real woman, right? But what I can be 100% sure of is that I want to be a woman, right? Always wanted to be a woman, still want to be a woman. So that's what I became. That's what I consider myself as. And right, almost lost my point. Right, when somebody now, like, I had this happen when a person comes to me and they're like, "You have to stop, you're on the wrong path, you're in a very dark place, like, go back to doing things the correct way." Then what I'm doing is telling me to go back to being depressed and waiting to die so I can be reincarnated, hopefully, as a cis woman. Which, that's what my thought process used to be before realizing that's absolute bullshit and transitioning. And whenever a person like this talks to me now and makes these suggestions, or like, it's a little more of a, like, forceful kind of, it's a little more than a suggestion, that's just, it's hard for me to picture how they cannot see how wrong they are in telling a person that is now happy to go back to being unhappy just so that they fit into their worldview. Like, I shouldn't even talk about these kinds of people because that shit does not make sense. Sorry for strong language, but it is a very emotionally charged topic. And now the question that made me make this video is, why is it important for me to be considered a woman, female, by random people, when actually I don't care what they think about me? Like, come up to me, tell me, "Oh, hey dude, how's it going?" Whatever. I don't your opinion doesn't matter to me. But when I saw this clip of this little girl who doesn't get to have a Digimon, and her brother, who loves her, is so sure about the fact that she doesn't get to have a Digimon, that made me realize how important it is for even random people that are just trolling or whatever to get this into their head, that there are kids out there, like the kid I was, who walk around being considered a little boy, and all they dream of all the time is growing up to be a woman, or maybe just being allowed to be a girl. And if, like, I know there's this thought of, yeah, you're corrupting our children, you're making them trans. No, I wasn't corrupted by anybody. I grew up not knowing that trans women existed and that this was a possibility. If I had known, I wouldn't have been corrupted. I would have been able to be happy earlier in my life. It took a long time until I realized that I could also transition and actually become a woman. I've always been a woman, but I didn't consider myself a woman because I didn't realize that was possible. It's important for me to be considered a woman by other people because I don't want any more children or any children at all ever to go through the long process that I have gone through. I want them to be happy earlier because I know a shit ton about video games. I have played almost all of the video games. You know why that is? Because I didn't want to exist as the person that I had to exist as for most of my life. So I fled into video games almost 90% of my entire time. I was just sitting in front of the PC trying to forget who was sitting in front of that PC. That sucks. That's awful. Nobody should have to live like that. And believe me, I tried to live life as a man. I was just waiting for it to be over so I could hopefully be reincarnated as a woman. That was my last line of defense. That's not good. So this is important. Let children dream of becoming whatever they want to become, right? Little cis girls are allowed to dream of being a princess, right? Even though they're just a person living in like not a monarchy or anything, right? But they are allowed to pretend to be a princess because it helps them actualize, right? And in the same way, little boys and little girls, cis or trans or whatever, should be allowed to dream of transitioning their gender or trying out a different thing or whatever without being shamed for it, without being told that's wrong, without being told that that is not possible, because that can lead to decades of misery, of fleeing into digital worlds and alternate realities when you could actually just become what you want from the very beginning. The only thing you need for that is people to tell you that's possible and that's okay. And that's why it's important for me to be considered a woman, so that children that are children right now get the opportunity to become what they're dreaming of. That's all. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a stream or so. Goodbye.